All right, good morning, Arizona and Colorado. We're coming live on 1010 KXXT in Arizona and right here in Colorado, 1360 KHC. And Joe is out today. I'll maybe discuss that a little later in the show, but he's gone for the day. He will not be on the air, so you got Jason. Bought into this company back in 2018. Pretty much exactly 6 years ago, and I've been doing the morning show for coming up on 3 years with Joe. I've been a substitute on the show for the 6 years, and when the big guy is out, then somebody else has to hold down the fort, and we could always play a replay show, and do other things, but I think I'd rather get an item or two in front of you guys. I'll have a special for gold and silver, and I got a clip to play with Andy Schechtman on the next segment, and I got a few things to read. It should be, a little more of a historical outlook on gold and silver, which is what led me to gold and silver, is trying to understand how to take care of myself financially. And then I started learning, well, how did everybody else do this? Last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50, 100 years ago, at the beginning of our country's history, you look and look and look and look, and you see the importance of gold and silver all over the place. And that's how I started saving, I started saving in gold and silver, because I felt like a lot of guys out there was, running in the rat wheel, the wheel that the mouse runs in. You faster and faster you go, and it doesn't seem like you're getting anywhere. That's the system. That's the way it's designed, is for you to when I was a kid, I earned minimum wage, but then I went to college and paid all that money, and then I got out of college. I got this really cool paying job, but it was just a starter job. I still wasn't getting anywhere, and I had to pay off all this debt, and and then I got into more debt, and then I got married and bought a house, got into more debt, had kids, and on top of all that, just taxes. This big weight bearing down on you, and the devaluing of any kind of money you're holding in your bank account. Yeah, they used to give a few percent interest, 3%, 4%, 5% back decades and decades ago, but that's when interest rates were much higher after the inflation of the 70s and 80s. And here we are again with higher interest rates. Now maybe you can get a few dollars for your savings, put it somewhere, but you're just not going to keep up. And if you're gonna save it, you're gonna put it somewhere until you decide what to do with it. Don't let it sit in the bank. Don't let it sit in a box doing nothing under your bed or in the closet hidden away in cash. Put it in gold and silver. If you just look at a long enough time frame, you'll see gold constantly, still that same ounce of gold, but worth more and more dollars. And that's not because gold is worth more. That's because your dollars are worth less. I always present my new customers. We have appointments, and people they know they need to get into this. They've heard enough, but they don't understand it. They think that when you buy a few ounces of gold, it's like buying a car or a house, and it's just not the same thing. It's something that you should learn a little bit about, but we're not taught this in school. So you come to us. You call us at 800-951-0592. You can buy, sell metals at that phone number. You can meet with us in our Arizona or Colorado offices. But you can also set up an appointment, and we'll sit down and talk to you. You don't have to buy, there's no pressure to have to buy anything. But if you have questions, we'll get as many questions as we can answered over the phones. But sometimes a sit-down meeting works. And when someone sits in front of me, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm giving up all of this." They show up their paper money. I'm getting for this little tiny coin. And I tell them, well, let's take a look at that coin you're talking about. That $20 Liberty, which was spent as $20 for a very long time, was 1-to-1 with a $20 bill. So you had a $20 paper bill, you had a $20 gold piece. You could take one to the bank and pull the other one out. Put that gold piece in the bank, pull the 20 out. You can take that $20 bill into the bank and pull a $20 gold piece out, and they both bought you a whole cow. things worked like this for decades and decades and decades. In fact, the entire 1800s, you could do such a thing. Late 1700s, early 1900s, you can still buy a cow for a $20 bill or a $20 gold piece. And so when I have my, new customer sitting in front of me, I say, now look, now you need, I think today, I don't have the website in front of me, $2,200 for the gold piece. And the first thing that, the way our brains are wired is like, oh my gosh, that gold piece is worth so much more. It's so much more until you see what the price of a cow is. And the 1 ounce gold coin can still get you the cow. It's the paper money. It's the fraudulent reserve notes. This idea of money that's been inflated. Because once you give a private corporation the opportunity to make your money, they will. Hey, this is pretty cheap. Let's just we'll print a bunch of this. We'll spread it where we want to spread it. When the country is profitable, we'll share profits with our little system. And when there's a big loss, when there's blood in the streets, we'll charge it to the U.S. government. They'll throw it on their books, and that's the way it's been going since 1913. And this is why you buy gold and silver. The number to call for gold and silver to purchase is 800-951-0592. I've got some gold and silver I'm going to talk about on the other side of the break. And then I got a clip with Andy Schechtman and talk about silver and the potential of what silver can do for you, and maybe some things you didn't realize that silver goes into. Kind of a quiet place where silver is put that we don't talk about that much. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Patriot Radio News Hour. The phone number to call is 800-951-0592. That's the number to call for gold and silver. As I was talking on the other side of the break, there's a lot of history that goes into how gold and silver has been used in this country. There's a lot of ways to look at world history and other ways about gold and silver, but America is really what matters the most. This is where we live. This is where you'll have to buy it, sell it, give it away to your kids. I always give away silver eagles as gifts. That's, to me, you see kids growing up, and they like toys and all kinds of stuff, and once I really got into gold and silver, I just bought the current year of silver eagles. I buy a roll or two, and throughout the year, I just hand these out as a graduation gift, a wedding gift, birthdays, Christmas, and you're not really you're kind of looked at sideways by a lot of people because, no matter how much people seem to understand or how many people that understand gold and silver or buy it, it's a vast minority of people that physically own gold and silver. And I think people understand that there's inherent value, but it's not really understood until you tell them, the cow, the 1 ounce gold coin, and the $20 bill story, and find out that the cow and the gold coin haven't done anything over these years, but the dollars have been just destroyed by those that print them. So today, I'm going to go over the silver and gold special today. Then we're going to get into this Andy Schechtman video, which talks about silver and its potential, which is why you're going to maybe want to buy these silver eagles. But we have 2024 silver eagles, $600 per roll, so that's $10 off the price on the website. And like I said, buy a roll of these just for gift giving. It's a great gift. I mean, I was talking to somebody. I was like, these silver eagles are, at today's price are $30 each. 20 in a roll. That's $600. And I was like, I guess for some, it's a little bit of an expensive gift, $30. I was talking to a customer, and he's like, you can't buy anything for $30. so I guess not a really expensive gift, but it is a good one. And like I said, I have birthdays I give them out, and you got graduation coming up in May. You can give them out. It says 2024 right on there. You know what I mean? And there's Christmas coming up later in the year. Obviously, you can give them at that time. And My wife has a sister who had, 8 children, and they range from adult to down to less than 2 years old. So I give these out during Christmas, and as the years have gone on, they're starting to stack them up, even if it's just one a year, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years go by, pretty soon they have a half a roll of silver. And fortunately, most of the kids I know are keeping them, which, silver 6 years ago, much, much cheaper than silver is today. So $600 per roll, 2024 Silver Eagles. Call us at 800-951-0592. Now, I want to also sell 10th ounce gold eagles. We sold some of these last week on special. I'm going to continue that. Just for the day that Joe, who's departs unknown today. He's off on a trip. Gonna secure your information and sources for gold for tomorrow's show if he makes it back in time. But today it's just me, and so. We have 10,000 gold eagles for $250 on sale on the website, but for today only, since Joe is not here, I'm gonna sell for $245 each. So that's today only. Unless Joe doesn't show up tomorrow, I guess I could try to push the sale again. With gold and silver kind of flat today. Last I saw, gold was down a few bucks, silver is down a little bit. So we're going to keep the prices where they're at, and I'm going to have the special on the silver eagles for $600 a roll, and 10th ounce gold eagles for $245 each today only. The number to call is 800-951-0592, and load it up. I mean, I was, I look around for opportunities. The opportunity to jump into this company presented itself in 2018, and it worked out really well for myself and my family. But other than those opportunities, that risk, that investment opportunities that pop up, if you know something's going to take off and you can buy into it early, then that's investment. There's risk involved. With my understanding of gold and silver, there is no risk. It's savings. Obviously, if they would get rid of a whole bunch of dollars out of the system, the price of gold would go down, but your gold would still have the same value because it would buy the same amount of stuff. It's really an awesome place for savings. And as far as I'm concerned, I can't remember the last time they were taking tons of dollars out of the system and we had deflation on a large level. I know that's one idea. There's a lot of people out there thinking that that's going to happen. We're going to de-dollarize in this country to a level where, there'll be deflation, but that's just not what these guys do. These guys want to inflate their assets. They want to keep their rich friends happy, and that eventually means either secretly printing money and throwing it everywhere, or just like in 2020, hey, there's an emergency here, everyone, money, which is not money, it's fiat currency, it's fiat, and it inflated everything, and gold went up. So I was thinking about all these opportunities, other ways you can make money. Look at, what is your earnings, what is your job, or what is your business you own, and the types of money you earn, and can I put my money here and make some money, and can I put my money there and make some money? And I was looking at, a long enough timeline over the weekend of all these different things, the stock market and bonds and, and cryptocurrencies, which are newer. I know Bitcoin's has been on a tear on it, but it's a short timeline. I'll talk more about Bitcoin in the future, but I think in the long term, I think Bitcoin will do what everything else does. As long as people are willing to put money there, it'll keep a value, right? The problem with all of these other instruments to put your money in is you look at it over a long enough time frame, and it's kind of it's where big money puts their money, and it keeps a value. I know that if you have a great company, let's just say Apple's done well for the decades, people are going to put your money there because it's a company that's proven itself. But there's a lot of other investments that are more speculatory, and plus, IBM was a juggernaut company. It's still around, but it's changed its business model. It's not really as much a computer company as it is. It buys up trademarks and stuff. It buys up, all the ideas for the tech coming. They like to buy up all the trademarks, all the registered items that are coming up. They don't really do a lot in computers. It's other companies that handle that, but they're not the big behemoth they used to be. As far as, hey, you have to have IBM stock. Well, yes, companies have ebbs and flows, and they get really popular. You had Blockbuster. That was a big company. Well, look what happened to that. It went away. Well, I got Netflix. Well, yeah, Netflix has done really good, but it's kind of coming back. It's not a huge gem as much as it used to be. And really what it comes down to is these are kind of exciting things that pop up, and you get excited about it. Oh, look at this new company. What about this Twitter company? Yeah, and Elon Musk is in it now, so I'm going to buy into that one. Or you're going to buy into Amazon, and look what Amazon's done. And look, it's great. It's huge. It's the future. But when you look at it over a long enough time frame, there is excitement, there is exuberance, and there's price points where if you could have gone in at a certain point and then it just goes up really fast, yeah, you did really well. But if it's a buy and hold situation, you're trying to put your money in an investment that performs over years and years and years, they always cool off, and they always end up, that line flattens out. And then you look at it versus all other things, and it's all kind of about the same. Big companies that are going to be around for a long time, that's a good place to put your money. It's safe, blue chip stocks, all that stuff. But gold does the same thing. And the thing about gold is it's just boring. It's exciting when you first get into it. And when you're learning about gold and silver, you just want to acquire as much as you can. You want to stack. You want to be a silver stacker and just stack it up. But after a while, it just sits. It's not a dog which greets you when you come home with a big happy face. It's boring. You put it away. The part about gold and silver that's not boring is you got to find a hiding place so that that the one risk is somebody takes finds your hiding space and takes your stuff. That's the only bad thing about gold and silver is your responsibility to store it. And you don't want that kind of excitement. So the more boring it is, believe it or not, the better it is. A lot of people, they want to see huge returns on their money. They want to see it now. And a lot of people get trapped into all kinds of flashy investments that come and go very quickly and take your money with it. And as I talked about in the first segment, the government's got us under their thumb because no matter where you're putting your money, there's fees, and then, of course, the government taxes and taxes and taxes. And then you get all these gains you were gaining, and suddenly here comes the tax man, and you buy property. Oh, I'm a property investor, and that's good, but there's a lot of taxes involved in that property. If you're congratulations if you're somebody that owns apartment buildings and you rent them out and you got this income coming in from your property. I get it. There's all kinds of good ways to put money into and get residual income. Get that income that helps you have a more comfortable life. I get it, but taxes. When you sell that property or just sitting on that property every year, you can't pick your property up and walk away with it like gold and silver. So give us a call, 800-951-0592. Gold and silver keeps pace with all of these things because what I've come to find out is these assets just kind of go up with the inflation. All of them do. I've actually heard people, I find it crazy, that the stock market is a hedge against inflation. I actually heard some people say this, and I'll say right now, yeah, you feel pretty comfortable in some blue chip stocks, but as I just mentioned a few companies, sometimes blue chip isn't blue chip after a while. Gold and silver is always going to be gold and silver. Gold and silver is always going to be a commodity that holds its value versus the overprinting of dollars. And will always be there when you need it. And if you find that really hot investment that you really want to jump into, you find a property that you want to buy, you bring your gold and silver to us, it's time to cash in. We'll purchase your gold and silver, and then you can move into these other investments. But otherwise, what are you doing with any kind of meaningful money sitting in the bank? Joe will hit you day in and day out about get your money out, put it in gold and silver if you're going to sit on it. And I'd rather sit on gold and silver than a stack of paper, that's for sure. We're coming up closer to the end of this segment. I talked myself through it, but
things are changing.
I'm going to play Andy Schechtman, and he's going to talk about silver, and today we got those 2024 Silver Eagles for $600 a roll. I highly suggest you get some. Get them for your friends and family when you're going to give gifts, but also put a few rolls around away for yourself. But I was listening to him, and it's in the middle. I'm gonna say it because I thought, I was like, yeah, that is crazy. When you buy these Silver Eagles, there's 25 rolls in a monster box. Okay, that's 20 coins per roll, 25 rolls. It comes in a nice hard shell for storage, easy for moving around. And that ends up being 500 ounces. So if you buy one of those today, it's $15,000. You get a whole case. You can buy a case of these Silver Eagles, 15,500 ounces. And I heard Andy Schechtman, and he's going to tell the story. We'll get some of. I'll play some of it this segment. I'll play more in the next segment. But he's like, this is just one weapon, one military weapon. One thing they don't talk about, they talk about solar and some of the industrial uses in computers for silver, and how silver is really, really, it's more than just a financial instrument, and it's more than just industrial. It's a high use item in the military. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They got computers. They got, I'm sure they put. He's like, Tomahawk warhead. One of those missiles we shoot into one of those Middle Eastern countries. One missile, 500 ounces of silver. There's a monster box of silver in a Tomahawk missile. And I'm thinking, man, you see what's going on in the world today, and what looks like is going to become more and more strife in the Middle East, and that is a lot of silver for one missile. I mean, that's a monster box of Silver Eagle for one missile. I've seen that sometimes these missiles cost about $1 million. Every time they launch a missile at one of these Middle Eastern countries, you're taking $1 million and blowing it up in some country. Well, we know that at least 500 ounces of silver is going with it. So I'm going to play Andy Schechtman on the next segment. Stay with it. You're listening to the Patriot Radio News Hour. Solo host Jason. I'll be right back. 800-951-0592. We have gold, 10th ounce gold Eagles at $245 today only at that phone number. And we have $600 for a 12-coin roll of 2024 Silver Eagles. The number to call is 800-951-0592. I've been talking about this Andy Schechtman video. Let's get to that real quick and have a gander. It's a good presentation.
Things are changing, and I think silver will have its day. And you can see that by a country like India, who purchased so much silver over the last 2 years, or China, who's been buying it. All of these countries slowly draining the exchanges. Silver will have its day. And the fundamentals, I think, speak to that. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. The whole theme is logarithmic decay, which I think is an appropriate way of describing a lot of things that are happening around us, socially, morally, economically, culturally, where things are being chipped away at whitewashing, if you will, whether it be culturally, whether it be economically, whether it be the judicial system, whether it be the mismanagement of the dollar. All of these things, little by little by little by little by little, are chipping away.
Welcome to our in-depth discussion on the unprecedented potential of silver as not just an asset, but as a cornerstone of wealth for millennia. Andy Schechtman shares his insights on why silver presents an unparalleled investment opportunity. With its critical role in green technology, digital advancements, and even military applications, silver's fundamental value is significantly understated.
When you look at silver, both its supply-demand fundamentals, its price historically, its relationship to gold, its expanding utilities in green and digital applications, not to mention military applications, which ironically the Silver Institute omits from its supply-demand statistics. Yet one of the guys in my show here just the other day came up to me specifically because last year I said there's 500 ounces of silver in a Tomahawk cruise missile. And he just came up to me and said, listen, I was on that program, and this is all declassified, what I'm going to tell you, he said, and he showed me pictures. He said, once you know, you're right. There's almost exactly between, I think he said 15 and 16 or 16 and 17 kilograms of silver in the tip of a Tomahawk cruise missile. And he showed me all sorts of pictures. He said, you're right. And it's not just Tomahawks. It's all the high-tech weaponry and aerospace and all of these things where copious amounts of silver are used, yet the Silver Institute ignores it. So from a supply-demand fundamental, where they tell us we're 200-plus million ounces, again, a shortfall in 2023, similar to 2022, yet expansion in uses and an asset that's priced right now at about 80 to 1 in its relation to gold, yet it's coming out of the ground at 7 to 1. one. There's so many reasons I could sit here and talk for much longer than 20 minutes about the value and the fundamentals and the potential of silver that at the same time to me is intrinsic historical wealth. I don't think I've ever seen in 34 years in finance a better opportunity than in silver, and I mean that honest to God to my soul. What does the military-industrial complex do? It funds wars all around the world and has for years, or provides the weaponry. And like even listening to Biden talk about what's going on in the Ukraine, so we will always give them the ability to protect themselves with weapons. So we're selling them weapons that, a $2 million warhead, that boom, it blows up, and well, there goes 500 ounces of silver. And how many times are those being fired? Boom, 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 boom. So if you want to continue to be the military-industrial complex to fund this massive machine of wealth and death, the only way to do it is to keep the most important part of that asset that you need to build that machine and all of its tools. You keep it out of the limelight. You do that. You're going to ask yourself, Kai, why would 4 or 5 commercial banks have the U.S. or Western-based commercial banks hold the largest short position in any commodity traded on COMEX? Why silver? Why it's as dumb as a mud wall when you think of it logically. Why? Gold is running because gold's not used in military applications, and if it is only a very small amount, but why would they short the hell out of a commodity like silver at a time when a country like India over the last 2 years is about 400 million ounces? That's more than is on COMEX. So the point of it is that, again, Occam's razor, what's the most logical answer? Well, that's to me it. When you look at the supply-demand fundamentals from the Silver Institute, they'll tell you that solar panels was the biggest use. No, it's not. It's military applications, which, strangely enough, is omitted. First of all, when we talk about the price, right? The price of silver on the last day of the year in Shanghai was $2.25 higher than it was on COMEX, a 10% difference in price. So, when you talk about the real value of silver, they're slowly turning up the heat in Shanghai, where they're creating an arbitrage event where traders in London and Chicago and New York will buy silver off of the COMEX and the LBMA and deliver it for an arbitrage of over 10%, which is big in the arbitrage world in Shanghai, and ain't never coming back at that point. So again, the suppression of the price is masking the real value.
Diving deeper, Andy highlights the alarming state of global financial systems, exacerbated by reckless monetary policies and staggering national debts, pointing towards inevitable currency debasement. Silver, with its robust industrial demand and historical underpricing compared to gold, emerges as a beacon for those seeking refuge in tangible assets. Andy's discussion at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference sheds light on silver's multifaceted utility and the strategic underreporting of its consumption in military sectors.
And I just wanted to add, he was talking about how cheap it is in Western, how it's a suppressed price, and now there's an industry there, they're buying it up and making 10% by sending it to the Shanghai index, and then the silver's gone. And then it's a wonder why there's such a deficit of silver the last few years here in the United States. So you can only hold that dam back so long before the price explodes. But let's hear him talk more about the military side of things.
This segment unpacks the mechanics behind silver's undervaluation and the strategic importance it holds in the global economic and geopolitical landscape.
When you talk about recession, I don't know if I want to lump silver into the Dr. Copper story where it's showing us a recession is coming. I would rather point to the inversion of the yield curve, which 11 out of the last 11 inversions has been a precursor to a recession. So to me, technical analysis or looking at silver in that way in a rigged market sends maybe incorrect signals. I look to the fact that the big money is accumulating silver, and it's very counterintuitive. It's being held down even when we didn't see a recession on the horizon. So I think it's one of these deals, Kai, where you can only suppress a market over an extended period of time by pushing it in the direction that it is going. And for a very long time, no one cared about gold or silver. They just wanted treasuries and U.S.-based securities and real estate. No one cared about it. Things are changing, and I think silver will have its day. And you can see that by a country like India, who purchased so much silver over the last 2 years, or China who's been buying it, or all of these countries slowly draining the exchanges, silver will have its day. And the fundamentals, I think, speak to that. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out.
What was the theme of your presentation?
The whole theme is logarithmic decay, which I think is an appropriate way of describing a lot of things that are happening around us, socially, morally, economically, culturally, where things are being chipped away at whitewashing, if you will, whether it be culturally, whether it be economically, whether it be the judicial system, whether it be the mismanagement of the dollar. All of these things, little by little by little by little by little, are chipping away. And the question is, when is that all at once moment? Whether you're talking things like cancel culture, like censorship, like the questions surrounding the elections, where a third of the country believes that they weren't fair, whether you're talking about the way we're perceived globally, or the mismanagement of the dollar, or the growing coalition of countries, BRICS, and all of these things that are little by little by little chipping away.
We'll have a little bit more of this on the other side. Remember, if you want to get your silver, 800-951-0592. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Patriot Radio News Hour. The number to call, 800-951-0592. We have 10th ounce American Gold Eagles going for $245 today only. We've had them on special for $250. I was going to heat it up today a little bit until Joe returns. So you got today. You got to get it in before the ladies leave the office today. But we also have Silver Eagles, a roll of 2024 Silver Eagles. You can buy those for $600 a roll at 800-951-0592. You're listening to the Patriot Radio News Hour. We're live on AM radio in Arizona and in Colorado. But you could also see the shows. You can go to 1360khnc.com, click on the podcast if you want to listen to this show later in the day. You could also, if you want to view the podcast, you can go to Rumble, look up the Patriot Radio News Hour, or go to YouTube and look up the Patriot Radio News Hour, and you can look back at shows. We've only been filming it for about less than a year, but you can see listen to the radio way back. You can go if you want. You have the time to scroll down at YouTube and all the recorded shows that are there. You can go years and years and years back and listen to the stuff we said years ago. So. Lots of ways to listen or see the show if you wish to, but to me the most important part before I joined 6 years ago was that phone number. It's 800-951-0592. It's a simple phone call. Even if you're on the edge, you don't know for sure, just pick up the phone and call it, and any questions can be answered to the best of the ability of the ladies answering the phone. Joe is obviously not here today. I answer my phone here in Colorado. If you've been a customer, you can always call here, but I've got the Fort Lupton phone number here. It does take messages, so if you ever wanted to set up a message to meet with me or ask questions, that phone number, 970-499-2220 is that phone number. And obviously when I'm on the air, I won't be answering phones, but I will answer any messages there and answer any questions, because I think it's very valuable for you to take the first step and just make the phone call. I mean, new customers are super important because some people just don't get it and they don't do a lot with it. But a lot of the new customers, once they do it and they're patient and they look at what happens as the months go on, as the years roll on, they become permanent customers, and they bring in more customers. Which is why we don't have to do a lot of advertising. We don't send mailers out. We don't call our customers. The word of mouth has kept this company rolling. And so I need you guys out there that are current customers, get a little more chatty about gold and silver to those that aren't doing it, or those that are doing it and maybe they're going somewhere else. And I think this company is a great option versus doing the internet and other ways of buying gold and silver. But I'm going to do a few more minutes of this clip here with Andy Sheckman before the show's out. But solid case for why you need to have silver. I've gone back and forth. I loved silver a lot when I was younger and I was getting into this. Plus, it's just you can get more ounces for less money. I used to do copper. Copper is there's a lot of work when it comes to copper. I used to open up the bank boxes of pennies. I'd go to the bank, get these $25 boxes of pennies, and sift through them, and then get all the 95% copper pennies out, and then put all the zinc ones back and back to the bank, dump them, and get more boxes. And I did that for several years, and I ended up with a lot of copper pennies. It's cool because you get a penny and you end up with 2 cents worth of copper. Now it's like 2.5 cents, getting close to 3 cents for each copper penny. So can you imagine if you could find an ounce of gold for $2,000, and suddenly it's worth, well, let's do it the other way. You get a gold coin for $1,000. It's 1 ounce, and you know it's worth $2,000. That's what I used to love about the copper pennies. You pull it. It's just such a small little amount of money though, so it takes you don't really get too far. But it kept my hands busy. It kept me thinking about things. When you're going through pennies, you're thinking about things. How often is it that we're so distracted that we don't have time to think? So it was a great hobby for me to really get my knowledge up on these things. But yeah, 100%. You make 100% every time you pull a 1982 or older copper penny out of circulation. You're getting more than 2.5 cents worth of copper. It's pretty cool. If you just keep filling those jars up, one of these days they'll demonetize the coin. If we go to a digital money system only, you'll be able to go melt all those things. And if they're pennies, they'll know exactly the composition. Hey, these are 82 and older pennies. 95% copper. And there's a way to do it, but really, it's like I said, it's a lot of work, a lot of energy when you can just get yourself into some cheap silver or buy gold. And let's play a little bit more of Andy Schekman as he's making his case for why you really need to hold silver. Because I've been liking gold a lot, and then recently it's like I'm liking silver. I kind of go back and forth, so pretty obvious you should be trying to get both of them.
At the culture of this country and of potentially the world reserve currency. So I find it to be a very appropriate way of describing, in my mind, the world that I see. Someone who I think is one of the smartest guys in the world. He used to work behind the scenes at the New York Fed. He understands the plumbing of the system, maybe better than anyone. And he talks about this being Bretton Woods 3. Where Bretton Woods 1 was when we took over for the pound sterling at the end of World War II. And Bretton Woods 2, basically was when, after we closed the gold window, we became the petrodollar. Bretton Woods 3, he says, is a system that will be denoted and denominated by, or described by, rather, transparency, maybe blockchain, and commodities. So I think we are heading away from debt instruments and opaque debt instruments at that, like treasuries and bonds, which have been shed by a lot of the wealthy countries in the world who are selling bonds and treasuries, and into things like commodities. And it doesn't just have to be gold and silver. It could be things like copper. It could be uranium. It could be liquid natural gas. It could be oil. It could be farmland, agricultural ETFs. It's things that are tangible that you need instead of promises by a government. And if you think, Ty, a bond, which is in essence debt issued by a government or a corporation, has a very short time frame of it being considered an asset in the world stage, whereas gold has a 5,000-year history of it. And so I think whether you're talking gold or any commodity, I think Zoltan is right. This is a system where transparency and commodities will be the way to, or the pathway, I think, to, in terms of the next level of opportunity and investment.
800-951-0592. We'll finish this show up here on the next segment. Stay with us. Final segment on the Patriot Radio News Hour. Gold and silver. The company's been around for decades now, or I think 26 plus years. And we buy your gold and silver. If you need to sell, give us a call at our office here there in Arizona. I'm not there. I'm here in Colorado, but you can always call me if you're one of my guys, or just call 800-951-0592. Call over there, and we'll get you set up with selling what you need to sell. I get a lot of guys that sell, and they got that guilty look on their face, and I'm like, hey man, It's why you bought it, Yeah, and I know it sucks to have to sell it because accumulating is what you want to do. You want to save more and more, but just think of the guy that doesn't have the gold and silver and runs out of money, and he doesn't have that money for that extra expense, that repair, that minor emergency that comes up. So if you need to sell it, we'll buy it. We give really good prices, especially to our customers that have been loyal to us over the years. But today's specials, once more, we have 1/10 ounce gold American Eagles for $245 today only. You got to call the number and get in today on that. And we have 2024 Silver Eagles today. As I said earlier in the show, this is what I give for gifts. I don't have to worry about presents. If my wife wants to be creative and buy something really cool for a specific person for a present, that's great. But for me, everybody can use an ounce of silver. And getting them a 2024, they'll know when I gave it to them. And Christmas, weddings, graduations, all these events that happen over the course of a year. It's you give them a 2024 Silver Eagle. It makes in a time where it seems like everyone's busy to the hilt, and going to the store and trying to shop for whatever. Yeah, I know. A 10-year-old kid might not want an ounce of silver for a birthday present, but I'll tell you right now, that 10-year-old, once that 10-year-old's 18 years old and graduating high school and getting ready to go to college or whatever pursuits are in front of them, if they need a few extra bucks and that stack of silver has been growing over the years, they're going to be very happy that you'll be the hero. They gave them a little lift when it came to those gifts. And here's the thing: if you want to give someone a more expensive gift, you really want to help somebody out for their future, you can buy a whole roll of these Silver Eagles. Give them the whole roll. Buy a bunch of these 10th ounce gold eagles. You can go to our website at allamericangold.com. You can shop. You can buy any of the items there as much as you want. We will get your order processed and get you called in to pick up or ship it. We have a lot of people that we ship to, and we're a fully functioning gold and silver outfit. So make sure you call us at 800-951-0592 to get yourself taken care of. And as I was looking at a text or two over the break, and Glenn texted in. He's like, look, there's 40 pounds of silver in the Tomahawk missiles. And yes, that's exactly what Andy Scheckman was saying. 500 ounces. 500 ounces doesn't sound the same as 40 pounds. 40 pounds, you think about lifting 40 pounds. Well, 16 ounces is a pound, divide 500 by 16. So those monster boxes, they're like 42 pounds. So if you buy a full monster box of these 2024 Silver Eagles, that's going to be 500 ounces. And it's an amazing thing. Yeah, that's how much silver goes into one Tomahawk missile, and it gets blown up in some foreign country. And try collecting up that silver then. I'm sure there's probably some guys out there that they can find the scraps. I guess they'll take it, but almost as hard as digging it out of the ground like these miners do. So, well, stay with us if you want. Go to 1360khnc.com if you want to listen to Half Empty Cup of Joe. I'll be joined with Steve Mitchell today. But otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow. And you guys just keep on stacking. We'll be right back with a Half Empty Cup of Joe.